Hello, Nigeria. I am Becky Madujemo. Thanks for turning up, as always, for Newsline. Firstly, we must appreciate the frontline workers, essential staff, especially health workers. We applaud your passion and bravery. God bless you for constantly showing up for duty at a trying time as this. Your contributions mean a lot. It may surprise some of you to hear that this is not the first time the world is weighed down by a pandemic. We will provide a timeline of all the pandemics that shook the earth to its very core. And yes, coronavirus is altering life as we know it. Changes are being made at every turn, and tonight, while detailing a few modifications, we intend to focus on how Nigerians, including senior citizens, are adjusting. There are other apt topics under our belts for your viewing the light. Be sure to savor them all. Let's listen to the news of the day with Claire Adelabu Abdulrazak.
Becky, I also join you to applaud all the frontline and, of course, essential workers at this time. Thank you, and good to see you. Welcome to Abuja. The news will continue in just a moment. Now, the news in full, and we begin with coronavirus update. China says all coronavirus patients in the city of Wuhan, where the outbreak began, have been discharged as global death tops 200,000. Let's now join our correspondent Joyce Ometo for a review of COVID-19 case standing here in Nigeria and the rest of the world as a new week rolls in.
The outgone week began with a record of 2,436,811 confirmed cases of COVID-19 worldwide, with 167,278 deaths. But figures from Worldometer as at 6 p.m. 26th of April indicate an addition of nearly 50,000 fatalities from last week to have a global death toll of 203,884, while infections now stand at 2,956,897. Africa registered 22,513 infections at the beginning of last week, but the latest data by the Africa Center for Disease Control as at 6 p.m. indicates that the continent has rising cases, with the total number of confirmed cases on the continent now 30,329, a rise of over 8,000. The death toll is now 1,374. Back home in Nigeria, the outgone week started with 665 cases, but as at 11:55 p.m. April 25, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control said the country has registered 1,182 confirmed cases, an increase of over 500. Lagos tops the charts with the highest number of cases, registering 689. FCT has 138 and Kano reports 77, while Benue, Anambra, Adamawa, Plateau and Imo registered 1 case each. Out of the 27 states affected, 8 states reported cases for the first time during the outgone week. They are Jigawa, Borno, Abia, Gombe, Sokoto, Adamawa, Plateau and Zamfara. 5 countries have reported death tolls above 20,000. They are US, Italy, Spain, France, and the UK. Elsewhere in Asia, reports from the Chinese city of Wuhan, where the global coronavirus pandemic began, said there are no cases left in its hospitals. And that's it from here. Many thanks for staying. I am Joyce Ometo.
And back home, President Muhammadu Buhari this Sunday received an update from the Minister of Health, Osage Hanire, and the Director General of the National Center for Disease Control, Chikwe Ihekwazo, on the rising number of confirmed cases of coronavirus in the country and efforts so far to stem the tide. Here is State House correspondent Gideon Ifande with the rest of the story.
So much effort being put in by the federal and state governments in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic, the number of confirmed cases is daily on the increase. So many questions are arising from this, such as if the country is winning the fight or what other strategy can be employed to tackle effectively the pandemic that has left thousands dead across the globe and devastated economies of nations.
The fight is going on very well. As I said, all countries are continuing with the struggle against corona using the strategies that they have developed for their own countries. We have developed a strong strategy here, working with all our expert groups like the NCDC and all the other port health services and so on. So we are working also with the states and the governors.
These are some of the questions Minister of Health Osage Hanire and Director General of the National Center for Disease Control, Chikwe Ihekwazo, would have to provide as they arrive at the presidential villa to brief President Muhammadu Buhari, who is showing so much concern on the form the virus is taking to ravage the country. You want to let us?
Yes, we have given a technical recommendation from, first of all, from the medical point of view, and we have also brought the overall summary and position of a presidential task force, which, as you know, comprises of not only the health ministry but other ministries, and we have aggregated the opinion that we have, weighing the health and the social and economic factor and everything.
Minister Hanire also speaks on measures being taken to address a mysterious disease outbreak that has left many people dead in Kano State.
Kano government is doing quite a good job, and the situation is such that if the war is getting too big, you need more troops. So we want to join and support them in the great effort that they are making in Kano.
Everybody is working very hard to solve this problem, because we know that testing really is the bottleneck at the moment into increasing the number of people that we can afford care. But it's a complex process. There are no easy solutions. I can see that some people are already procuring rapid diagnostic test kits. They don't work, as far as we know. So I really recommend that we all stick to the national strategy, build on it, support its expansion, and together we'll get on top of this.
Twice, the president had ordered a lockdown in 2 states and the Federal Capital Territory to curb the spread of the coronavirus. But now that close to 30 states have recorded index case, will there be another lockdown after the expiration of the ongoing lockdown? This is what the president will decide during the week. From the presidential villa in Abuja, Jide Onifade, NT News.
And with increase in the spread of coronavirus in Nigeria, especially in Kano and Lagos states, despite concerted efforts to curb the spread and prevent the consequent effects on the nation, Chairman Bua Foundation Abdul Salam Rabiu has committed a 3.3 billion naira grant to fight the pandemic. In a letter to the chairman, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa Abdul Salam Rabiu says a working group consisting of the Presidential Task Force, the NCDC and other stakeholders is expected to equip the 2 existing permanent facilities in Kano and Lagos in collaboration with the state's teaching hospitals in the shortest possible time to support already stretched medical facilities and ongoing research on the virus. And in the immediate, BOA Foundation has also made available 2 billion naira as intervention fund for Kano State and another 1 billion naira for Lagos. Another sum of 300 million naira will also be made available in cash to the Presidential Task Force to assist with logistics and operation. The chairman commends the Presidential Task Force and NCDC for their hard work and dedication in the fight against the dreaded disease. And 3 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed in Ondo State. This is apart from the infected police officer who came into the state capital, Akure, from Lagos. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, who announced this, said the security at the state boundaries will be strengthened to resist incidents of community transmission. Olubukola Aduo reports.
3 new cases of COVID-19 in the state on his Twitter handle. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu said the number of coronavirus pandemic patients in Ondo State is now 6. One of the 3 new cases, the governor said, is one of the suspected killers of late Mrs. Funke Olakunrin, daughter of Pa Ruben Fashoranti. He announced that contact tracing of police officers and others in the SARS facility where the accused person was kept has commenced and the specimens collected for testing. Describing the manner in which the infected police officer came into the state from Lagos State as reckless, Governor Akeredolu explained that the officer was tested of COVID-19 in Lagos, but out of his own volition travelled to Akure while awaiting the result of the test. The policeman later went back to Lagos for treatment after his test returned positive. He alleged that he waited in vain to be picked up by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, in Lagos before he decided to move back to Akure to seek treatment. In the meantime, a professor of virology and immunology at the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Professor Abayomi, has said that viruses cannot be completely wiped out as their reservoir can also lead to resurgence.
I foresee a situation that in the next anytime from 3 months and above from now, a larger percentage of the population, even in Italy, US or something, would have developed some natural degree of immunity, such that the way it's giving its own knockout effect now will start going down.
Professor Abayomi Adebayo stressed that various measures to contain the spread of the deadly virus should be strictly enforced by government. In Akure, Olubukola Aduwo, NTA News.
And it's day 13 of the second phase of lockdown, and Nigerians await the next line of action. But what is the current situation here in Abuja metropolis? That's what Victor Azo went to town to find out.
As the second phase of lockdown nears its end, it appears that the desperation of Nigerians to flout the directives intensifies. There is, however, a commensurate resolve on the part of security operatives to enforce compliance. At the Galadimawa axis of the FCT, security operatives are seen screening vehicles to ascertain their qualification to be on the road. They have these apprehended ones to show for their efforts. They better be able to convince the magistrate otherwise. At the Nikon Junction, another team is doing due diligence. Some offenders have already been arraigned before a magistrate and their fate determined, I am told.
The cases we had in the mobile court today is about 25, you understand, and 5 of them were actually charged and then fined, and about 13 of them were committed to community services, and 1 was discharged, and some others were adjourned. On our parts, sit down at home. Within some hours, if this thing dies down and we don't have cases again, the better for us.
As the clock ticks towards Monday night, will it be an extension of lockdown or a return to normalcy? Only time will tell. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Thank you, Victor. Now, in compliance with the directive by the Bauchi State Government banning public gatherings, Islamic scholars are observing this year's Ramadan Tafsir without the usual attendees. Renowned Islamic scholar Sheikh Tahiru Usman Bauchi, who commended ulamas for their compliance, advised the public to adhere to all directives by government, especially at this trying moment. Anwar Abdullahi completes the report.
Islamic scholars in Bauchi metropolis have been conducting the annual Ramadan Tafsir with no attendance in compliance with the state government directive to contain the spread of COVID-19 in the state. The measures taken by Bauchi state government include ban on Friday congregational prayer and the annual Ramadan Tafsir in public, among others. A renowned Islamic scholar in the state, Sheikh Tahiru Usman Bauchi, and the chief imam of Bauchi Central Mosque, Malan Bala Ahmed Baban Inna, stressed the need for Muslim Ummah to abide by government policies and programs, saying it is in line with the teachings of Islam.
Ana gargadin cewa kar rika tara mutane da yawa domin saboda tara mutanen da yawa yana ba ciwon karfi yadda zai yadu cikin mutane. Saboda haka a riga kiyayewa na tara mutane da yawa ko a wajen tafsiri ko a wajen salloli ko a wajen waɗansu abubuwa dai a kiyaye tara mutane da yawa.
Anything you come with it that we get more than 60-70% compliance, you are successful. As far as I'm concerned, I thank the Muslim Ummah, they have complied. And those that have not complied, I call on them to agree with the destiny of Almighty Allah and apply it.
Last Friday, the usual Jumat congregational prayer was not conducted in Bauchi metropolis as all the mosques visited were under lock and key. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
And in Kano, the state government has established 10 mobile courts to prosecute lockdown offenders as part of measures to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in that state. Governor Abdullahi Umaru Gandoje, who said this at a press briefing in Kano, also affirmed that about 300,000 households will benefit from palliative measures put in place to cushion the effect of the lockdown, especially on the vulnerable across the state.
The far-reaching impact of COVID-19 has continued to evolve globally. This is more so in Kano being the most populous state and ranked third highest in the prevalence cases of the disease, which currently has 77 confirmed cases of COVID-19 as at Saturday night. To further cushion the effect of various mechanisms put in place to stem the spread of the disease on the vulnerable, 600 million naira is earmarked for the first phase of the program. Other measures already taken by the state government to halt the spread of the pandemic, the governor noted is evacuation of over 1,000 Almajiris to 3 states of Kaduna, Katsina and Jigawa.
In order also to punish offenders of this lockdown, we have decided to establish 10 mobile courts, and all offenders will be taken to the mobile courts.
Orders are fumigation of various areas visited by suspected cases of COVID-19 and ordering of 1 million face masks to be distributed to the students. From Kano, Lawal Sallau Inua, NTA News.
And as Nigeria continues to battle the coronavirus pandemic, the Ogun State government says it will begin enforcement of compulsory usage of face masks in the state from the 1st of May. The state governor, Dakbo Abiodun, disclosed this while addressing journalists and added that violators will be arrested and made to spend 14 days in an isolation center.
Of February 2020, when Ogun State recorded its index case of coronavirus, both federal and state governments have been working tirelessly to contain the spread of the disease. Some of the measures introduced include maintaining of social distancing, practice of personal hygiene through constant washing of hands, use of sanitizers, and wearing of face masks. Governor Dakbo Abiodun says to further curb the spread of the virus, the state government will begin to enforce compulsory use of face masks from 1st May 2020.
We will arrest you if you don't wear a face mask. Because, in fact, when we arrest you, we'll take you to an isolation center. Because we will believe that you want to intentionally inflict or afflict someone with COVID-19. That's why you're not wearing your face mask. So we are taking consideration that we are isolating you for 14 days, during which we make you do community service. So in your best interest, please ensure that if you are going out, you wear your face mask.
He advised residents to comply with measures put in place to prevent further spread of the virus. The governor congratulated Muslims for the commencement of Ramadan and urged them to pray for the country.
And in Ekiti State, the state government says it will deal decisively with any private health institution that harbors patients with coronavirus symptoms in the state. Now, Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Mujishola Yaya Kolade, who gave the warning, also confirmed that 2 hospitals have been shut down as contact tracing of the 4 new cases commenced. Here is Kendi Durodola with the rest of the story.
The state government has closed the private hospitals that first treated the deceased pregnant woman who died of COVID-19 in the state, with stern warning to private institutions to desist from such acts. To protect security operatives involved in the implementation of the restriction of movement in Ekiti State, the state chapter of Man No War also donated face masks to the security operatives, being one of the frontline personnel, to protect them from attacking the coronavirus.
During our little time stay with them, we discovered that they don't use any preventive to cover their nose or mouth or anything. This is the reason why we now deem it fit within our organization to present the nose mask for the Joint Task Force.
In this time of problem, is the Muslims' responsibility to be their brother's keeper.
The Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs in the state also presented palliatives to 500 widows across the 16 local government areas of the state to cushion the effects of the lockdown on the most vulnerable members of the public.
Very resourceful corps members produce hand sanitizers, liquid soap, spray and face masks to support the state government in the fight against COVID-19.
Coordinator of the scheme in the state, Mrs. Emmanuela Okunhete, said the gesture became imperative in view of the collective effort to curtail the spread of the virus. In Ado-Ekiti, Kendi Drodola, NTA News.
And in other news, Henkel, a global player in the laundry and home care subsector, has donated cartons of its products to frontline healthcare providers in COVID-19 isolation centers and other hospitals involved in the management of coronavirus patients. Adiola Komiakere reports that the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives was the beneficiary.
The responsibility of nurses in any healthcare facility are enormous as they work closely with patients. This is why the donation of cartons of Natal antibacterial detergent and bar soaps to the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives Lagos State Council by Henkel is a step in the right direction. Henkel says the company's gesture is to complement government's effort in curtailing the spread of COVID-19. While describing the frontliners in the fight, particularly the nurses as heroes, Henkel expressed optimism that the product will be judiciously utilized.
All is our flagship antibacterial detergent brand. It's sold pan-Nigeria and is available in store. Basically, it contains sodium perborate, one of the essential key ingredients, which is also eliminates at least 99% of germs, so it can be used in washing and in cleaning of surfaces. So, I mean, there's no better brand in our portfolio to support the spread and government's efforts in combating coronavirus than, Nitol.
Chairman, National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, expressed appreciation to the company for augmenting government's provision in ensuring they work with clean materials and equipment needed to effectively discharge their duties.
Nurses need to wash their clothes, wash their hands, and other health workers. So this will go a long way.
Henkel says, in addition, the company has kick-started a massive awareness campaign to support other sectoral bodies and non-governmental organizations with product donations across the Federation as the mission to end the spread of the virus continues. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
And Ondo State government has taken delivery of palliative materials, which include bags of rice and kegs of vegetable oil from the federal government as part of measures to cushion the hardship occasioned by the novel coronavirus pandemic on the masses, especially the vulnerable. Abiola Ariyo reports that the materials will be distributed to the vulnerable in the 18 local government areas of the state.
Materials include 1,850 kg bags of rice and 700 kegs of vegetable oil presented to Ondo State through the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development.
We all realize the fact that more than ever before, we now have many people that are vulnerable, even if they may not be that poor. So many people actually desire government attention because of the situation we have found ourselves now.
Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu received the materials and handed them over to the Ondo State COVID-19 Palliatives Committee, appreciated the federal government's gesture, assuring that the food items would be distributed evenly to the people of the state.
We have covered all the local government in the first round, but the second round is going to start very soon. We'll do second round, and if you still have more palliative to give, we'll also do other rounds. So it's not something that is ended.
The state government says arrangement is on ground to distribute the items to the targeted groups across the 18 local government areas of the state. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
And the Nigerian Air Force has begun distribution of palliatives to host communities of the 6 commands in Nigeria. Dr. Oguyemi witnessed how the activity went in Lagos and now reports.
COVID-19 has been massive across the globe, taking its toll on livelihoods. In Nigeria, there has been an increase of giving, especially those targeted at the most vulnerable.
This is our own little way of contributing in ameliorating the sufferings of the most vulnerable members in our immediate community.
Rather than having a fun fair and other commemorative activities that would have marked the 56th anniversary of the Nigerian Air Force at this critical period, it is ensuring that host communities and their residents benefit from palliative support. And in this case, for Lagos, residents of Ewu, Shasha, Mafuluku, as well as Shogunle are beneficiaries in this regard.
Ganiu Babalola is a 75-year-old retired security guard who has been out of work for 10 years. This palliative comes as succor as his children, who he says have been a source of survival, have been constrained by the lockdown.
Because it's something that I never expect, and I do it now. My prayer to them is that their weapons will never face them.
400 bags of the palliative support are to be distributed in Shogunle and Mafuluku, with 300 going to Shasha community.
The government cannot do it all. That's what we have been saying. And the Nigerian force has played their own part.
The disabled and the aged people are going to be the one giving, and it will surely get to them.
The gesture is to complement government's efforts towards meeting the feeding needs of the most vulnerable in the society. In Lagos, Dotun Okunyemi, NTA News.
Welcome back. Let's turn our attention to other news now. And police operatives have arrested a deadly criminal gang responsible for the kidnap and murder of a Catholic seminarian, Nadi Michael, of the Catholic Good Shepherd Major Seminary at Gonigora and Kakao in Chunkun local government area of Kaduna State. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer DCP Frank Mba reveals that the suspects, Tukru Usman, Shehu Bello and Mustafa Mohammed, all of Igabi local government area of Kaduna State, were arrested after several months of intensive intelligence operations. The suspects have confessed to several other random operations along Abuja-Kaduna Expressway, where they kidnap, kill and rob motorists, collecting ransom and valuables running into millions of naira. The Inspector General of Police assures the nation that the force will not rest until they are brought to book. And as the armed forces of Nigeria sustains its onslaught against terrorists in the northeast, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has executed air strikes, neutralizing several Islamic State of West Africa province ISWAP fighters at Goloram on the fringes of the Lake Chad in Borno State. A statement by Coordinator, Directorate of Defense Media Operations, Major General John Eneche, says the operation was conducted on April the 25th based on credible intelligence reports indicating that some of the SWAP leaders and fighters had converged on the settlement for a meeting. The few survivors were taken out in subsequent phases as the jets strafed the area. The Armed Forces of Nigeria says it will sustain the onslaught in order to restore peace. And on the downside, President Muhammad Buhari has expressed sadness over the death of a community leader and renowned philanthropist, Mrs. Gertrude Amoke Jediagba, mother of the Minister of State, Power, and Prince Godi Jediagba. In a condolence letter signed by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, President Buhari described her as a phenomenal personality who did exceptional work as a caregiver. In the same vein, the President extended extends his sympathy to the Minister of Education, Adamu, over the demise of his mother, Hajia Fatima Mohammed Adamu Gamwa. She was aged 106. President Buhari condoles with the family, government and people of Bauchi State. She has since been laid to rest in Katagum. Similarly, the Federal Executive Council has condoled with the Minister of Education, Adamu, over the passing of his mother, Hajia Fatima Adamu Baba. The council also commiserates with the Minister of State Power, Prince Godi Jadiagba, over the demise of his mother, Mrs. Gertrude Jadiagba. The Federal Executive Council prays God to grant the families the fortitude to bear their losses. And President Muhammad Buhari commiserates with the Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, Yusuf Bichi Mogoji, on the death of his mother, Hajia Karimatu Abubakar Bichi, this Sunday. In a tribute to the late matriarch who died at the age of 96, the President expresses deep anguish on the passing away of a woman he describes as a leader whose untiring efforts united the family and the community. Now, when good men die, their memories are hardly ever forgotten by relatives, friends, and associates. The demise of former economic advisor and educationist Professor Ibrahim Ayagi came as a shock to his relatives and friends in his native city of Kano. Olabode Arwa brings us a tribute to the late professor.
Kano and indeed Nigeria on Saturday, the 25th of April 2020, received the shocking news of the death of one of his famous sons, Professor Ibrahim Ayagi, who died at the age of 80 after a protracted illness. The renowned scholar and professor of economics has played many roles in the banking and economic sectors of Nigeria.
Here we were able to feed ourselves. At that time, with agriculture, we were able to feed ourselves, and our income was not bad.
Professor Ayagi's position on IMF economic policies in the 90s generated controversies, but the man stood his ground even at the verge of losing his position and went on to maintain a newspaper column to express his views on world economic matters. As chairman of the National Economic Intelligence Unit, the Kano-born economist is said to have worked tirelessly to get Nigeria out of our debts at the advent of the Fourth Democratic Dispensation. An educationist, Professor Ayagi will be remembered for his independent mind, intellectual capacity, and willingness to serve the country at times, irrespective of the position. In Abuja, Olabode, NTA News.
And that ends the news from here in Abuja. Becky will be back in a short while, but that's after the commercials. Don't go away.
We dey catch feelings, we dey cry.
Amaka, ani kilo ṣẹlẹ̀.
If you do better thing, you go thrive, mama.
Leave that house now. Amaka. Stay where you are. You are going nowhere. Amaka.
Like this, series and much more. Download the Airtel TV app.
Mr. Announcer, you don't tell them say this film is still there on top of fire. And you say me, we still the shoot, so.
Download the Airtel TV app from Apple and Android Play Store. Enjoy for 7 days data free. Airtel TV by Airtel, the smartphone network.
Power outages have become part of our lives, and life can be a nightmare without power. That's why, now more than ever, you need to take control of your life with Omaha Portables.
The power output of every Omaha generator is exactly as stated in its power rating.
As long as there's Omaha, your home will have the reliable power you thoroughly deserve.
Omaha generator gives us peace of mind because it never fails us.
Omaha Portable Generators, inspired by you. Amazing Bluetooth, gripping 4K, high-def satellite receiver, vibrant colors, make you feel truly immersed in the action. Omaha Television, inspired by you.
Glow Stay Home Data Plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
The National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, NESRIA, an agency of the Federal Ministry of Environment, advises that infectious waste generated from isolation centers and treatment of COVID-19 infected persons are disposed according to laid down guidelines. Disinfection of buildings, streets, and equipment should be done using set standards. Waste handlers should wear appropriate personal protective equipment properly. Waste generators should package their waste for transport to treatment facilities, and each containerized infectious waste must be securely closed and labeled. Don't reuse disposable gear. Proper handling of infectious waste will reduce the spread of coronavirus. For detailed guidelines and further information, visit nesria.gov.ng. Email dg@nesria.gov.ng. Helplines 090-1066-1915. Nesria, ensuring a cleaner and healthier environment for all Nigerians.
Tell them. They told me you are the best around here.
What can I do for you, sir?
I want my own very, very simple. I don't want any shine. If I see any shine.
Actually, I'd love some sequins on my skirt. And I don't like any frills.
I beg, I want frills on mine, but it must not be too tight.
Tight! That tight now, that is what I want. And the transition.
Oh, you know what? I want a gown. Me too. I want to come to
You know what GMS and this Did you capture all the information?
Of course not.
Actually.
Fantastic.
I give my customers what they love because everyone has their unique style. So why should they wear the same thing? Just like MTN for me, which gives unique data and recharge offers just the way you like it. Just dial *121# and turn up great offers every day.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
This is to inform all members of the House of Representatives that the House will resume plenary session on Tuesday, April 28, 2020 at 10 a.m. Members are advised accordingly to take note of the new date. Please. The COVID-19 guidelines approved by the federal government and the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, and additional guidelines developed by the House will be sent to members' pigeonholes for collection on resumption. Staff and members' aides are to work from home and be notified when needed in the office for any special assignment. Patrick Egiwa, Clerk to the House of Representatives, announcer.
Welcome, dear. Have you washed your hands?
Inside my house again. This thing not the key black man.
I don't know if it's misinformation or poor hygiene that will kill you first. Coronavirus is real, and good hygiene practice will save your life. Anyway, no hand washing, no eating.
I will not take care of it. I was one of the parents.
Coronavirus is real and it's on the rise. But you can help yourself and help others to be safe. Remember, we can stop the spread. It's in your hands.
This message is from Akifade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Thank you for staying with us.
The coronavirus pandemic is still a shock to the world, more so when there is yet no cure or vaccine. As governments, scientists and health workers intensify measures to end COVID-19, it is pertinent to know that this is not the first time the world is fighting a common enemy of humanity. There have been pandemics in the past that kept citizens of many countries indoors, with millions of people battling for dear life. Tekla Wilkie will take us back in time.
Not too long ago, the exchange of a handshake or a hug was an expression of a bond which was a widespread culture in most societies. Ironically, this seemingly harmless social gesture, which dates back to centuries ago, could spell doom in today's reality. The reason is not far-fetched. The world seemed to have succumbed to new regulations that contradict age-long traditions. Clearly, self-isolation, quarantine, and other presentations of COVID-19 have had their moment in time. Flipping back through the pages of history gives one a sense of how past pandemics have reshaped societies in profound ways, with millions of people paying the ultimate price. It begs the question of what the world will become after COVID-19. Now, let's begin the chronicle of global epidemics with plagues of Justinian that spelled terror in bold letters. The pandemic, which happened between 542 and 546 AD, recorded about 100 million deaths. The source of the disease was traced to rats and fleas. The disease afflicted the Byzantine Empire and the Mediterranean port cities, killing up to a quarter of the population, with about 5,000 people dying daily. Clearly, there were many more rivers to cross, as another disease known as the Black Death, which lasted from 1347 to 1350, unleashed its own version of terror on the world's population. The outbreak ravaged Europe, Africa, and Asia, claiming about 75 to 200 million lives. The plague, which reportedly originated in Asia, allegedly jumped continents via rats that so frequently lived aboard merchant ships. And since ports were the major urban centers at the time, it provided a perfect breeding ground for the bacterium to flourish. The Great Plague of London also made history when the epidemic ravaged London from 1665 to 1666. The actual number of deaths is suspected to have exceeded 100,000. Reports have it that the decline of the plague was ascribed to quarantine. Apparently, mankind has been observing this medical practice for centuries gone by. Evidently, more pandemics hounded societies with little or no resistance from science. One of such diseases was smallpox, also known as variola major. Smallpox hit the world with a resounding blow. The disease reportedly existed for about 3,000 years and was traced to the Egyptian Empire around the 3rd century before Common Era BCE. The global spread of smallpox left survivors blind, sterile, and with deep-pitted scars on their skin. The disease is said to have claimed about 60 million lives in the 18th century and killed another 300 million globally in the 20th century. Smallpox was finally eradicated by a vaccination program led by the World Health Organization. This breakthrough is regarded as one of the greatest triumphs of modern medicine. We are not done yet. The Italian plague that occurred in 1629 to 1631 recorded about 1 million deaths, while the Antonine plague, which occurred in 165 AD, claimed 5 million lives. China, as it turns out, has been linked to devastating plagues in the past, including the third plague pandemic that occurred between 1855 and 1859. The disease, which erupted in China, spread to all inhabited continents, killing over 12 million people. The plague was finally traced to bites from rats and fleas traveling on steam ships. Nonetheless, the world had had many battle lines to cross. Those who believe that cholera is a 19th century disease will need to hear this. Apparently, cholera has been around for a long time and never went away. The first outbreak was recorded in India in 1817. It is termed the world's longest-running pandemic. In spite of efforts to curb the disease, WHO data still puts the figure at a staggering 120,000 deaths each year. The cause of cholera is traced to contaminated food and water. For the next 3 centuries, outbreak of plagues occurred frequently throughout the continents with infamous widespread mortality. Yellow fever was another disease that devastated the world in the late 1880s. Statistics indicate that a total of 150,000 people lost their life during the pandemic.
There is another health condition that has given health practitioners cause for concern. You're talking about the flu epidemic. Yes, it's very prevalent in the northern and the cold regions of the world, spread across continents. WHO puts the number of deaths related to flu epidemics at 300 to 500,000 yearly. History is replete with strains of flu that claimed millions of lives across the continent. The ones that got the world's attention include the Russian flu, the Asian flu, the Hong Kong flu, the swine flu, and most recently, the avian flu, also known as the bird flu. And wait for it. Scientists have known of the human coronavirus since the 1960s. The Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, MERS, and the Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, popularly known as SARS, all belong to the coronavirus family with similar symptoms to COVID-19. But the flu that the world will not forget in a hurry is the Spanish flu pandemic. The disease, which ravaged the world in 1918, reportedly killed more people than the First World War. Spanish flu was recorded as one of the most catastrophic pandemic globally, with a death toll that rose to 50 million. It is estimated that about 1/3 of the world's population became infected with this virus. There is the HIV and AIDS pandemic, which had quite a wide spread. Going by WHO data at the end of 2018, HIV and AIDS has reportedly killed over 32 million people globally since the first threat was recognized in 1981. While the death rate had remarkably reduced, about 31 to 35 million people are currently living with the condition, with the vast majority located in sub-Saharan Africa. How could we forget Ebola virus disease, EVD? The disease is linked to bats and is said to be one of the deadliest viral diseases. Ebola was first discovered in 1976 in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The outbreak between 2014 and 2016, which began in Guinea and spread across borders within weeks, pushed Ebola to the status of a global epidemic within months. Though the world has had its share of plagues that bled it out, it always gets back on its feet. With COVID-19 currently fanning its wings across the globe, this pandemic not only caught the world in a nightrobe, it is also redefining the elephant in the room. While some countries may recover, others may be on life support for a long time to come. For what is worth, the coronavirus pandemic have had most people pressing the reset button. While some are rebuilding their relationships, others are rethinking their priorities. Bottom line, the world may not remain the same, as COVID-19 has clearly moved the goalpost for mankind.
Oh, wow, that was in-depth. Well, the world survived previous pandemics, and it will survive COVID-19 as well. Now, the emergence of COVID-19 has altered our routine as a people in many ways. The temporary schedule is what you might call the new normal. For instance, at the onset of the lockdown, markets in Abuja were allowed to operate 3 days weekly. But the FCT administration has cut it down to 2 days. Cecil Egbele will now present what obtains on a typical market day.
It's a market day here in the FCT, and just behind me is the Kadobiko market in Gwarimpa. Markets in the FCT open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and for my time is just 8 minutes before 10 a.m. and you can see the market is crowded already. But the concern is, are traders and buyers taking into consideration safety measures as they go about their activities? Well, we're just about to find out.
Anywhere I want to enter, I find out that people are many. I just shift. I don't go in there.
Exactly that place where you did, so my customer they stand where they answer. I know that my customer name.
It will not be easy for us because the market is too jam-packed and everybody is coming close. But we are trying all our best to keep the social distance.
In fact, as you see me, so see my baby. I told her I don't need anybody. I forced her to go straight. Don't near anybody. Don't talk to anybody. And that is the instruction. I like what government is doing.
With social distancing still an issue of concern at this market, perhaps the other safety measures may very well be considered.
My customers, they wear masks, they cover their mouth, they cover her hands.
So for you, Uncle?
Me, where
wetin make it now because heat do me now I make I come out my own.
I dey wear the mask but not all the time. Because the team around dey affect me for no self. I say I just rest. So I go still wear them again. But then for my market, before person go touch am, no sir, I get my hand sanitizer. The first man go just sanitize in hand well before he go touch any of my market.
I don't even get money to buy garri. I will go buy mask and then say na 500 for one. My children are 12.
Most times when I'm done with whatever I'm doing now, I'll get a soap and water and then wash my hand and then move on. That's what I do.
At the market, I learned something new. Shea butter has just found its way as one of the latest coronavirus remedies circulating among the people.
I'm using shea butter on my nose because I understand that if you are using shea butter, which is ori, it's actually also good for protection of the virus.
Sometimes I go use kai put for water, take wash my hand. If I finish in the night, I use shea butter, put for my nose, put for my eyes, put for my mouth. One of my friends told me I should take lemon, put warm water with hot water, honey, and then the lemongrass. In fact, this morning I have to plant lemongrass around my compound.
It's a little over 2 p.m. here at the Gwaripa market, and of course we can see that the traders are keeping to their part of the deal. The shops are being closed, the goods are being covered, and last-minute shoppers are making their way back home. And of course security operatives are on ground to ensure that all these are adhered to and strictly to.
From what we just saw, a special arrangement for safety in local markets should be considered. Now, the urgency to interrupt the spread of COVID-19 necessitated a lockdown put in place by the federal government. However, when it comes to disregard of this rule, artisans are among the worst culprits. Harman Jabani will show us how this group of low-income earners have been operating without a care in the world since the lockdown began.
To stop its spread, most especially as regarding maintaining physical distancing. For one locality to another, I observed that most artisans are not adhering to the lockdown, working towards providing for their needs. Their needs indeed, but basic precautionary measures must not be overemphasized to curb the spread of the deadly COVID-19. The likes of Faith, Hassan and Mary, who are artisans, told me their strategy to prevent themselves from the virus and not to spread it in case they have it.
We attend to any customer, we use our sanitizer. Our face mask is always there until we close. And as you can see, we are behind the counter. And I'm not too close to her. I'm in her back.
We need to use hand glove. Okay. If they want to pay money, we use hand glove to protect our hand.
Barber's shops in most neighborhoods are places where youths meet to while away time. But under this coronavirus pandemic situation, what is the situation like in barbing saloons? Just like this one where I usually have my hair cut. What is going on in there? Come with me, let's have a look.
When you walk in, there is a hand sanitizer there. I'll use it. You use it before I start attending to you. And we normally sanitize the seat too before we sit.
If you are worried about the barbers and the hairdressers, what can you say of the local barbers, nail cutters, the market people and the likes that one experience total body contact with?
It is only God that protects us. If not, there is no way we will not be affected.
Yes, sir. But all the same, we wash our hands with the disinfectants, and we do our best, as I said earlier. But all the same, we still believe that God will take care of our health.
We visited Sabon Lugbe, one of the communities along Lugbe Airport Road, where we found out that customers are conscious of these preventive measures.
I told the owner of the shop to please, if the people inside are not babbing, that they can come outside, that I don't want crowd.
I have my sanitizer and my face mask in my bag, so I feel I'm good to go.
It's very, very important that such precautionary measures like alcohol-based hand sanitizer, if possible, washing of hands is put in place.
So we should wear our face masks, social distance, 1 meter gap. So that's exactly what we are doing. As you can see, the way we are sitting down here, there's a little gap between each one of us.
Dr. Ian, a medical practitioner, believes that most of the cases being recorded in the country are as a result of lack of observing physical distancing. As such, much must be done by the people and government to upscale enlightenment campaign and adherence.
Social distance is very, very important, which they say 2 meters away or 6 feet away. The main route of transmission is via droplets. And they say that these droplets cannot go far.
While customers too, like Blessing Francis at Gambra, they will continue to do the needful. Experts say as long as COVID-19 is concerned, artisans like Faith, Hassan and Mary should not resume their dignified jobs but receive holistic care and support that will enable them stay safe and healthy until the world gets a solution to the deadly COVID-19.
I would say artisans act nonchalantly across the country towards COVID-19. More awareness is needed. Newsline will take a break. See you shortly.
Welcome to our wonderful world of data with these incredible new offers from your #1 4G network nationwide. Glow Unlimited.
Your hogs are a comfy place for dropping in, for lazing around, and hanging out. So we've designed our hugs to be just as comfy, with a super absorbent core to lock wetness away, and a soft, flexible waistband. Our most comfortable diaper keeps baby comfy at every angle. We'll never stop finding new ways to hug more like you. Huggies, your hugs inspire ours.
Choose to do this with your stew, but not your data. Get more out of life with the new Airtel data plans. Dial *141# today. Data is life.
Airtel, the smartphone network. Improved household hygiene is essential to keep your family safe. Did you know that the sodium hypochlorite, the active ingredient in hypo bleach, is equipped to fight viruses and germs? Add some bleach to water, soak a clean napkin in diluted bleach, and wipe off germs from common contact surfaces. Wipe off with Hypo. Disinfect your home with Hypo bleach always.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Consider
International Hotel, pleasurable evolution you can't resist. A concept delivered. Cheetah International Hotel brings you face to face with an unimaginable experience you can't erase. You'll like to come again and again. One thing you will hate is to be told the story. Another thing you will love is to be part of the story. You are looking for where your gain equals the cost. Break even with Cheetah International Hotel with our world-class event center that is set to blow your mind away. A world-class arena equipped with top-notch facilities, syndicate bedrooms, hall 1, 2, and 3, underground basement hall, gallery, and many more. Located on plot 224, Solomon Law Way, Utako District, Abuja. For more information on your highly distinguished hotel services, call 081 007 18882 or 081 007 18883. Cheetah International Hotel, a place where your history and future is made.
Son, being good at something requires strength. It requires putting in more. That's why the new improved Bonvita is packed with vitality and a richer, creamier taste.
Stopping the kids from playing stops the learning. That's why we stop the germs.
Indeed, Safeguard fights against germs. Safeguard removes 99% of germs.
Non-stop childhood!
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
The glorious month of Ramadan is here again, and we at Al-Habibiyah Islamic Society once again call on all faithful to observe the physical and social distancing directive of the government to curb the spread of COVID-19. Always wash your hands with soap and water, use hand sanitizers and face masks when necessary, and stay at home. Observe your obligatory salat, tarawih, tahajjud, du'as, and askars with your families from the comfort of your home. Stay at home, stay safe, stop the spread of COVID-19. This message is from Al-Habibiyah Islamic Society, from Allah to you, a light.
You've seen me promote Lifebuoy soap, but today I urge you to use whichever soap that is nearest to you, because washing hands with soap helps to fight the coronavirus. This is a public service announcement from Lifebuoy.
Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun!
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
Alright everybody, let's do this!
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things!
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV, live it, love it.
Coronavirus disease is one that has affected virtually every aspect of life. More worrisome is the implications on the elderly, who seem to have a higher risk of developing serious complications owing to underlying medical conditions. In our next report, Annie Daniels will tell us how this class of the population in Nigeria is coping and staying safe from the virus.
Every single person here fall under the category of those referred to as senior citizens. The issue of COVID-19 is not alien to them. One reason for their converging here daily.
At least we used to gather here, we have newspaper and magazines which we normally go through. Then after digesting the paper, then we discuss the common issues with people.
I don't pray to see it.
Why, sir?
Because of the damages that it has been doing to the public.
Because of the knowledge about the virus, they agreed to the stay-at-home directive by the federal and state governments. Some of them fear they may not survive the disease if contracted because of their health status.
I bought an eye drop that I used to put in my eyes whenever I feel something there. But that day, I didn't know that one of my children, they have finished the eye drop and poured a tapia into it. So When I got home, I took the eye drop, put it on my eye. I ran to the bathroom, opened my eyes there. It was foolish.
So I went through heart operation in UK 2 times. And after that heart operation, my cardiologist advised me to be taking some medication which are live. And sometimes I've been finding it difficult, to procure these medications.
These senior citizens appreciate several palliative measures put in place by the government to cushion the effects of the lockdown. But they have a suggestion.
They don't want us to die anyhow. We appreciate it. I just go somewhere there, go see my friend. I can't see them. The baba, old mama, they line up in the sun. If my small boy, where I can say, Mama, then the share food. I say, make they come push me down. If person fall down, you don't finish with that. This is our secretariat here now. If they bring for our president, he will share it, he will call us and he will share it.
Dr. David Marco Kusonya is a caregiver. He, like several other Nigerians from his little income, makes available hand sanitizers for these senior citizens and looks forward to more help for them from well-meaning Nigerians.
Abeson Estate, Ipaja, has over 3,000 to 4,000 elderly people. When it comes to feeding, I wish, because of their limitation in walking and so on and so forth, they can be reached individually.
Thanks for bringing that to public notice, Annie. Those senior citizens need more safety tools and, of course, palliatives. Now, if you've ever had cause to attend an event hosted in Nigeria by Nigerians, and it was devoid of an array of colorful attires, sumptuous menu, and great music, please wake up from that dream, because Nigerians never miss a chance to show off their sense of hospitality. You might say it's our tradition, but there are those who are tasked with the responsibility of putting these events together. They are event planners. And in the wake of COVID-19, this set of people are having it tough, as most events have been suspended, postponed, or outrightly cancelled. Daniel Aderiye reports on how events planners are dealing with the dry spell due to the coronavirus pandemic.
All the party way then they do for Lagos City. Now there you go find the money receipt.
Who would have thought that a time in this country will come when birthday parties, weddings, celebrations of all kinds would literally come to an halt? It's shocking, I know, but that is the reality on ground. COVID-19 has put everything to a standstill, and be you high class, middle class, or even low class, as it stands, no one is allowed to go into any form of social gathering pending the time this is all over.
One of the most important one for me was my sister that gave birth. I should have been there, at least to celebrate with her, because for long now she's married and she couldn't give birth. So I'm happy for her, but I couldn't go and celebrate with them.
So one happened to be my birthday, and this year I plan to really go out big. I booked an outdoor photo session. I booked for a designer, I booked for a stylist, a makeup artist. I booked for all sorts of paparazzi and all that stagey kind of thing. But to my greatest surprise, as the days drew closer, I had to keep cancelling all the events. I had to keep saying no because fear had gripped me and I had spent so much.
One of my friends was supposed to hold a wedding ceremony last month. Due to the limitation to the number of people that are supposed to attend the event, which is 10 in Oyo State, it has been postponed. So it has affected so many things in my life. In fact, it's making life boring.
I also got the chance to chat with some active players in the event and hospitality sector, and they had quite a bit to say about their dwindling fortunes. No thanks to coronavirus.
But for those of us into event, business, because of the whole not gathering, social distancing and stuff, people are not even, nobody is gathering to do parties and stuff. So because of things like that, cake orders will definitely go down, event planning will definitely go down. People wouldn't book for cakes as much as they would have wanted to. Even if they want to do just a little party in their house, they would rather go for something very small, not too expensive, because people are afraid to spend, don't know how long this lockdown will take.
We as event planners, decorators, SMEs, we are hoping and praying that the government will bring us into the stimulus package by providing soft loans and grants to help cushion the after effect of COVID-19.
Beyond business and the regular day-to-day hustle and bustle, the one thing Nigerians can't wait to enjoy after coronavirus is over is an atmosphere filled with music, dance, food and merriment, because, after all, we love a good party.
All I can say is that the party days will return. It's only a matter of time. On to the next. Passionate about the needs of his constituents, former governor of Nasarawa State, Umaru Tanko Almakura, is representing Nasarawa South Senatorial Zone at the National Assembly, has donated palliatives in form of food items and cash to make life bearable for them through the pandemic. Abari Solomon reports.
To stakeholders, Almakura epitomizes everything good as politician and philanthropist. He is simply a man of the people who constantly keeps in touch with understanding that charity begins at home, even with the shrill voice of need. In the first day, distribution of rice went to only the representatives of 53 electoral wards across the senatorial zone. The initiative is deliberate to avoid overcrowding and community transmission of COVID-19 pandemic.
And for someone on this with a very good heart to support his people is a man to be reckoned with.
The distribution can only take effect when the consignment reached and stopped in the electoral ward center.
In the second day, payment of zakat as fundamental pillar of Islam to the needy takes center stage. Usman Ishaq Adudu appreciating praise to God for sustenance of the religious obligation by the Muslim community.
We thank Alhaji Umaru Tanko Almakura, our senator, for the effort he has been doing all this while for the past 10 years or more. We are benefiting from this program.
There is also a clear message to take away of sit at home, regular hand washing, social distancing, and other measures government directed to curtail the spread of COVID-19. In the words of Almakura, the fight against the virus cannot be left in the hands of government alone, hence the need for individuals and organizations to contribute their quota.
Prevention is better than cure, and that is what I am very, very much concerned with. Let's prevent it. The issue of about getting treatment when you get the disease is an afterthought. As much as possible, if we can prevent it, we would save thousands from the problem of getting medication or dying as a result of the disease.
Nasarawa State is yet to have a confirmed case of COVID-19.
Gesture there by the senator. Let's embark on a short break now. Keep it here.
There is one sound we need to silence. So let's silence toothache before it starts with Oral-B All-Round Protection. Its advanced technology helps prevent both tooth holes and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your teeth, giving them all-round protection. Because the only sound we really want to hear is that of our future. For healthier, stronger teeth in 1 week.
Introducing the new Nivea Dry Impact and Dry Comfort Deodorant. Now with quick dry effect and longer lasting fragrance. Guaranteed to keep you feeling dry and fresh all day. Proven 48-hour protection and longer lasting fragrance from Nivea.
Never get caught unfresh with the new Nivea Dry Fresh deodorants.
Picture this, a culinary experience across northern Nigeria with exceptional women sharing exciting recipes from their community. Picture some of your favorite celebrities cooking, sharing knowledge, and enjoying iftar right on your TV screen. From miyan gauta, dashishi, miyan kubewa, lele, and other iconic dishes, then spice to life for the flavor of Maggi. You can stop salivating now. I'm Jamila Lowell, and you're welcome to Maggi Diaries Season 3.
Like a bird needs wings to fly, you need skills to be productive. No matter the level of your education, ITF can train you to acquire skills in areas like mechatronics, metal machining, facility technology, electronics and computer networking, information and communication technology, ICT, culinary art, and agriculture. Acquire a skill and transform yourself from being unemployed to becoming even an employer. Be a valuable Nigerian youth. Say no to unemployment and poverty.
I'll spread my wings and fly so high. I'll reach for the stars, yeah, it's time.
Industrial Training Fund, developing the nation's human resource.
As you can see, I'm at home. I'm reading a book. When I get bored, I watch movies. Life has not stopped. Together we can beat this thing. All we have to do is make sure we do the necessary things, which is wash our hands, use hand sanitizer frequently, wash your hands with soap. Please avoid crowded environments, crowded places. If you must head out maybe to get groceries, use the face mask. So please stay safe, stay responsible, and stay at home.
Aggressive disease containment.
Now on lockdown.
It is one of the measures taken by the country.
How long is all this for? Scientists say that's the big question.
News that connects you globally, from the world to your home, with 4 leading news channels 24/7. Live breaking stories on GoTV. GoTV. Live it, love it.
There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status. The virus doesn't move unless we move. Let us work together to better Nigeria. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
A good number of residents in Rivers State are consuming tons of dead fishes across the shores of coastal communities. Unaware of the possible health implications, in swift reaction, concerned stakeholders have called on relevant authorities to carry out investigation to ascertain the remote causes of the incident. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
Sinima is one of the communities in Bonny, Rivers State, where these dead body of fishes, popularly referred to as broke marriage, are littered.
Nobody is aware of what killed them, but we are suspecting that there might be something of a chemical based on rumor.
NTA News gathered that Oyokoto in Andoni and other communities lying along the Atlantic shorelines are not spared.
These are the fish. A lot have died. People
that eating this fish are complaining. It polluted all our water. You can't use the water.
We have been seeing a lot of thousands of fishes dying in our sea. Some picks the fish to feed from it. Some are getting problems, as in getting some sickness from the fishes. So we need the government to come and assist our land.
Fumilayo Adeyemi is among some of the residents of the area who unknowingly sail and eat these dead fishes without knowing the consequences.
As you buy and won't buy and go sell, and then they come say, me everybody know you can.
The worry among some stakeholders and Niger Delta activist group is the possible health risk of consuming the dead fishes. The group called for laboratory tests to ascertain the remote cause of the incident.
Those in River State watching us, please be mindful of the type of fish you consume at the moment. Moving on, what would you do if you sight a python? Would you make a dive for it or a run from it? Well, Sinam Bamigboyo in Yenagua tells us what a fisherwoman did when she saw a 10-foot python in Epie Creek while fishing.
Epie Creek that runs through half of Yenagua, the Bayelsa state capital, is home to various species of fishes. Its banks are also quite rich due to the deposits of minerals and well cultivated. This makes the river a good source of income for fishermen and farmers. Traffic over the creek is constant using footbridges. Apart from fishes, however, there are various types of reptiles which farmers and fishermen encounter once in a while. For Mrs. Josephine Owei and her friend, Friday, March 29 remains memorable. She reportedly went to check her fish trap at the Agudama Epie axis, but what she found in it was more than she bargained for. A 10-foot python had been caught in the net.
When they flow for water, so I see them. So I carry canoe, go, pull the canoe, go. I and my sister, pull canoe, go. So I Abuja it. I succeed to kill the snake. They catch for our net. So we use machete and kill her. There's plenty for our river here. God give us strength to kill the snake.
This giant python was a sight to behold, and passers-by could not help but stop and stare.
All of a sudden, I saw my cousin sisters macheting something so seriously, and they were shouting, "Jesus, Jesus!" So I asked, "What is happening now, auntie?" They say, like, "It's a snake, snake." Before we even go to the riverside, they've already killed it, and I helped them to bring it out, and this is how you saw it. And we are pleading to the government to come and help us clear this creek for us so that these things will no longer be in the river.
Did I say that this python commanded an even better price than any fish she could have caught that day? A whopping 10,000 naira.
What a brave fisherwoman. All right, time for our final break. Stay for the last segment.
Relive on GoTV. Welcome to GoTV's Relive channels. This is a world of sports where you can relive the best sports moments on GoTV.
She does! Oh, he's got it too! Back into the right. Oh, they've got another one! Oh, see! Really is that night in town!
Go relive the most epic stories in sports on GoTV from our Relive channels on SuperSport on GoTV. GoTV. Live it, love it.
As a strong immune system increases the chances of victims surviving COVID-19, a corruption-free society creates opportunities for citizens to thrive and prosper. Build your immunity. Stop corruption now. Report all acts of corruption to ICPC on this toll-free number 0800 22 55
854272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
This next one is pretty interesting. Young karate sensation Miriam Gimba seems ready to take on the world with her mastery of the front and back stance, straight punches, and other tactics that bring down the opponent. Abdullahi Suleimani Yaji will tell us more about this girl who is kicking gender inequality where it hurts most.
Combat sports like boxing, kickboxing, taekwondo, and karate are a no-go area for many parents. The fear of injury has often discouraged parents from allowing their children to venture into the world of combat sports. But for 12-year-old Mariam Gimba, it seems this apprehension stoked her parents' desire to see little Mariam become a karate champion instead of killing it. Mariam, a brown belt holder, is destined for greatness, reveals her business analyst father, who himself is a 7th degree black belt karateka.
Not once. She was first noticed in FCT as somebody who could go places. The next year she also participated in the same event, Qatar. She again got a gold medal. And then there was also a competition that year. Another competition that year, she got 2 gold medals. And then like that, she has been having gold medals.
An excited Mariam confessed she's in love with the sport and disclosed her award-winning journey.
It happened through my hard work and my parents' help and their encouragement and pushing me to do what I know I can do.
Mariam Gimba, a GSS2 student, has several medals to her name, comprising 6 gold, 2 silver, and 1 bronze, spanning 3 short years of hard work. Basking in this euphoria, she admits bullies in school or the neighborhood don't want to cross her path. Was there a time she got injured while training?
Over the years, she gives me gold, and there's been no championship I take her to that she does not give me gold. So, she's my golden Mariam.
Hot on the heels of Mariam is Faiza Gimba, her sister, who is also making a bold statement that karate runs in the family.
It was when I fought somebody, then the person hit my stomach, and when I came back I became serious, and then when they were sharing the medals I got bronze.
When I saw them doing it and the training, I was like, oh my God. Even when she wanted to get her second belt, the training was hard.
I gathered that despite the fact that she possesses some skills to defend herself, Mariam Gimba hardly ever gets into trouble or bullies her friends.
Mariam Gimba is a promising world champion and we are rooting for her. That's Newsline this week. I leave you with this. Be careful, be kind, keep your distance, stay safe. Good night and God bless Nigeria.